Hey everybody, it's meteorologist Joe Martucci. It is time for our Something in the Air podcast, coming to you the first and third Wednesdays of every month. That's when we have new episodes for you at pressivac.com/weather or wherever you may find your podcast. Third Wednesday of the month, we bring in a special guest. Not that Dr. Dave Robinson's not a special guest. The first Wednesday of every month, we bring in somebody new here, and this time is no different. In fact, this is somebody that goes back to about, I think, the third week I was at the press. Lenny Desiderio. He is the mayor of Sea Isle City. He is a Cape May County Freeholder. He's been around in both mayor and freeholder capacities for a long time here, and especially during the fall, I wanted to bring him in to talk about two things. One is tourism in Cape May County during the fall. The county has made a big push in recent years to have people come down to the shore and to mainland Cape May County and enjoy, and especially in this COVID time, that's no more important than this year. But also, we're having him here to talk about what's happening with coastal flooding. Sea Isle City is near the top when it comes to coastal flooding resiliency. There's something called the CRS rating, Community Rating Scale, done by FEMA. And in short, and we'll talk about this more later, but the better rating you have, the more percentage off you have with your coastal flooding. And again, Sea Isle City is near the top at that. So we're going to hear from him as mayor, what they're doing for coastal flooding. We're also going to hear from him as freeholder to talk about what the county is doing to bring people in during this COVID time. So without further ado, here he is, mayor and freeholder, Lenny Desiderio. Welcome back, everybody, to the Something in the Air. Sorry, just going to redo it again. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Something in the Air podcast. I'm meteorologist Joe Martucci. He is mayor of Sea Isle City since 1993. Mayor Lenny Desiderio, Cape May County Freeholder since 2002. First and third Wednesdays of the month, we have new episodes. Usually we have a special guest for our third Wednesday of the month. Very special guest here for our third Wednesday of the month here. So thank you again for being with us, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Very much, Jim.
So let's talk a little bit just about wrapping up fall here, at the Cape. On average, just going back to previous data we were talking about, Atlantic City, or excuse me, Lower Township, I should say, far southern part of Cape May County, is actually about a half-inch drier during the months of September and October than Millville. And it's also an inch drier than New York City. So those are real differences. And what I want to know is, most of these people, when they're coming down, one, where are they coming from? Is it mostly South Jersey? Is it New Jersey, beyond? And how long are they staying for?
Well, they're coming from, what we figure out is a tank of gas. People will drive a tank of gas to get somewhere. And the ones that are coming down now are staying for 4 to 6 days. That's what they're staying 4 to 6 days for a stay vacation. The ones that are second homeowners are also coming down 4 days, 3 to 4 days. And it all goes around the weather. I've been saying this for years, Joe. They'll keep coming down on the weekends. People will continue to visit until we have that first storm. Once we have that first storm, then they all made other plans, and then they start getting back into their winter little things that they do at their main home.
Right.
But they'll continue to come down, and we've been fortunate enough to have the weather this fall that continues to bring people down and even continues to bring renters down into October.
Sure. Are there any particular falls you remember as being especially good, or else even say vice versa, a little more challenging ones? Any that come to mind?
I think this one so far, even with the restrictions that we all have, is probably one of the best falls by way of people here during the week and on the weekend. During the week, there are an unusual amount of people in Cape May County. It's got to be close to a record if anyone was taking account.
Right.
A lot of people in Cape May County during this fall season. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like I said before, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have those that continue to come back every weekend.
Sure. All right, we're going to switch topics a little bit here. We're still going to talk about the weather, but we're going to switch to tidal flooding.
Of course, what else can we talk about?
Hey, it's a short. That's what we got to do. That's my job. Anytime we get even a little bit of coastal flooding, always got to talk about it. But I want to know, on a personal note, how much do you follow the weather? I know you're always talking about it, and I appreciate the compliments. I tell people, you can thank me for the nice weather and blame me for the bad weather, but you can't just blame me for the bad weather and not thank me for the nice weather. But how in depth are you with the weather? Are you pretty in sync with what's going on, with the forecast, how the weather is? Or are you kind of an armchair, meteorologist?
No, I'm not Joe here, but I like to
That may
know
be a
what
good thing.
it's going to be like for the week ahead, so I can plan, scheduling and anything outside, especially now with COVID. We need
Yeah.
to know what the weather is. So I like to read. I read your forecast, and I like to look at your forecast on Monday so that I know what I have all the way for the week. And I know that, like last week, we knew that it was going to rain on Friday, and we knew it was going to rain heavily on Friday. We knew that the rain in Cape May County was going to start around 1:30, 2:30, according to you.
Yeah.
So darn if you weren't right. So I knew what to plan for outdoor activities, and I know, what to expect. So
Sure.
I follow it like that. It's
How about this?
watching TV and watch the meteorologist. Nah.
You're just buttering me up. I appreciate that. I'll take it. How about growing up as a kid? Any memorable weather events growing up as a kid?
Oh boy, we had
No.
weather people that were going to say it was the storm of the century, and nothing materialized. Another one said we're going to have a clear weekend, and we had the storm of the century. So there's nothing that I could remember with the weather. Sorry.
All right, that's okay. No
Right
problem.
now, as I get older, I'm following the weather more and more.
All right, there you go. Yes. I think when you're a kid, you just don't care. You want to get outside and play. It doesn't matter if there's mud on the ground or
Right.
yeah, if it's sunny out. So, let's talk about tidal flooding here. I'll just list off some stats first, and then we'll get into it. Tidal flooding in Cape May and Atlantic City have increased over time. Atlantic City, we've seen 6 times more coastal flooding events this past decade than we did in the 1950s and 60s. Cape May, it's about 4 times. You can kind of extrapolate for Sea Isle Point as we've seen more of it. The reason is threefold. One is we have a lot more buildup. Shores are more built up. That water needs somewhere to go. Part of it is sea level rise. Part of it is actually the land sinking a little bit here. Now, what I will say is, and congratulations and kudos to Sea Isle. The community rating system, that's something we talk about a lot. I'll write about it. It's done by FEMA. And it goes in levels. Community rating system basically translates to how much % off do you get on your FEMA flood insurance. A level 3 in which you are 35%, I believe, discount, right? 35%. One of 2 in the state to be a level 3. The other one is Avalon, neighboring Avalon, that you guys have level 3s. But it's just incredible, how Cape May County, Avalon, Cape May County has taken a serious approach to coastal flooding. So my first question is, when you started as mayor back in the early 90s, what was, we'll say, the mindset towards tidal flooding, and has that evolved over time to now?
Well, funny story, Joe. 1993, when I was elected to mayor, a week later, I got sworn in. So the election was on the 11th. I got sworn in on the 18th. It wasn't, you get sworn in, then you get 2 months to learn.
Right.
I got sworn in on the 18th. A week later, on the 25th, I got a call at City Hall. I was at City Hall, and they said, Mayor, you're supposed to be at a meeting with FEMA in the construction office. And I said, what the heck is FEMA? What's FEMA? So I went over there, and I learned real quick what FEMA was and what they stood for and what they did. And at that time, Sea Isle was on the verge of being expelled from the program. They were going to be kicked out. We were probably the worst community in New Jersey when it came to doing what we had to do for flooding, etc. And I explained to them that, hey, I'm a new mayor. I'm here 14 days, and they said, well, we've heard this before. We've heard this from other mayors. We got to make an example. So I said, well, give me a chance to see what we can do. So over a number of years, we were able to make CL better and better and better, and made our ordinances even more stricter than what FEMA was asking us. I took numerous trips to New York. At the time, FEMA, the East Coast headquarters, was in the Jacob Javits building. Took numerous trips up there, and slowly but surely, CL started to comply. We started to do things different, and we became the first community in New Jersey, the first community in New Jersey to get 35% discount.
Right. Sure. And, residents of the area as well, has their mindset, have you seen a similar evolving of their mindset over time as well during your time as mayor?
Absolutely. It became contagious. As the city started fixing up our properties and doing what we had to do to our properties, neighbors started doing that, and it became contagious. And as the new homes were built, everyone was building to what we had to build to, and everyone was cooperating, from the city to the construction to the homeowners. Everyone was cooperating. When people had to put more vents in their foundation, they were all doing it. Whole neighborhoods were putting vents in. As one guy did it, the neighbor did it, then she did it, then she did it, then he did it. They were all, it was contagious, like I said, and everybody was going in the same direction, and that's why we have the success that we do.
How much of this, when you're acquiring these different stages of CRS, so you go from 10 to 9, 8, et cetera, how much of this is things that the town government can do as opposed to things that people might have to shell out of their own pockets for?
Well, in this, government had to take a lead, and government had to take a strong stand on this. And one of the most difficult things that we had to do is, when we were getting down to the end, we had a number of homeowners that were just saying, we're not doing it, this is all baloney. So what we did, which was very, very difficult, was take those homeowners and give them a subpoena to appear in court. That's tough when you have to do that. And then they realized that we meant business. And, of course, everyone came into compliance after that, because they knew that let's face it, we had our backs up against the wall. We were going to get kicked out of a program that's a very good program. We were going to get kicked out of a program where we had no discount, and our homeowners were paying unbelievable amounts for flood insurance. We were having problems where people could not get flood insurance. Now we enjoy 35% discount on flood insurance, which, as you said, Avalon has now joined with us, and we're the only 2 communities in New Jersey, and there's only 6 in the nation, 6 others in the nation. So we've done our job, and the homeowners have played a huge part, along with the contractors, in getting this for us.
And you are right. Level 3 is really hard to get. I think that number's a little higher. I believe it's 11 last time I checked, but still, when you're talking about thousands of communities, 11 is nothing here. Level 2 is obviously the next step. Do you think you're going to get there? And what does that mean? What do you need to get from a 3 to a 2?
Well, our floodplain manager, Neil Byrne, is really, really taking this to heart, and he's really done an excellent job with this. And he's working on what we need to do to go to level 2. We're not promising anyone level 2, because, as you just said, that is very, very difficult. And if there's 11 in the United States that are in 3, there's far less that are at 2.
Yeah, a very select number.
Hope that we become a class 2 community. But if you look back a number of years, even with us staying in this program, would have been, yay, we stayed in the program, where we're going to be able to get flood insurance. Now that we see that we're a leader, and Neil and I have gone to conventions throughout the state, meetings, and we have given our story, how we did it. And, we went from being the bad boys of the flood insurance program to number 1. We went from worst
you're still a bad boy inside, though. You're still, you guys still got a little bad boy inside of you, just not on the flood insurance level. You know, how much money are people actually saving with the CRS level 3?
Almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million. Yeah, for the whole town, that's, you know, that's a good chunk of change for everybody, of course. And it does, you know, when you go into Sea Isle, I will say, when you go in there, you do notice that, you know, the big thing is, you notice a lot of houses are raised, right? I think that's the most visible thing, you know, but the floodwater management programs are there. You know, you develop ways to get water out as quickly as possible. Even though, yes, you know, coastal flooding is still, it's always going to be a concern here, but, you know, it's something that at least can be mitigated. And, you know, I believe a lot of people, especially at the shore, are very sensitive to coastal flooding, of course, but I think people understand, hey, when we have this kind of coastal flooding event, especially the big ones, that people are paying attention. And you actually have a webcam now. You have sponsored by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. You have a webcam in Sea Isle City. Tell us what you have hoped to have gotten from that and what you have seen over time, and whether it's from you or from people in the community.
What we do is we view it, and homeowners can view it from, if they're second homeowners, they can view it and see how the water and how quick the water rises in certain areas of our community. And we're also putting in pump stations. We put our first pump station in at 39th and Sounds, and it's working very, very well. We're looking forward to putting our next one in sometime in this spring for the next one. Of course, as you stated earlier, we are surrounded by water. So it's very, very difficult, especially during a storm, to get rid of this water quickly. But these pumps, this one pump we see is working. And in talking to the neighbors, yes, they still have water, but nothing like they had in the past. Nothing like they had to run for shelter because of a pending storm or flooding.
Sure. How much water does it actually move out? Do you know?
I don't know the exact number of what it moves out, but it does move some water out.
You notice the difference.
You can tell the difference, and you can tell the difference by the homeowners who were constantly telling me our street floods, our streets flood, this area floods. And now, you know, they're saying, hey, this pump is working pretty good. This pump is pretty good. And it's getting to other neighborhoods who now want a pump. So we're going to be putting some more pumps in our community. Next one probably be in the spring.
Sure. I know on the county level, Marty Palugi, who's the OEM director for the county, as well as mayor of Avalon, is redoing their county hazard mitigation plan. Are you familiar with the mitigation plan being redone, and what do you hope to see from it from a tidal flooding stage? The mitigation plan, just for those who don't know, is kind of a plan of action, or at least a handbook for how to deal with any kind of natural disasters over the 2021 to 2026 period.
Well, first of all, Mayor Palugi is the foremost authority as emergency management coordinator, and he's looked upon from his peers throughout the state as someone that you can turn to, someone that has done a great job here in Cape May County, someone that I'm proud of, because he really has done a good job as emergency management coordinator. And this mitigation plan that he is proposing and putting together, letting people know what to do, what's going to happen, when we're going to do it, how do you do it, is something that is really needed, because as more and more people come to our communities, to Cape May County, you get somebody that pulls up and they're here for a week, and they don't know about what happens when there's a nor'easter. They don't know what happens when there's a high tide. So you need to let people know exactly what's going on, what to do. We've been alerting people, Avalon, Sea Isle, all the communities have their own way of alerting people about a high tide, etc. The reverse 9/11 that we do here in Sea Isle City, reverse 9/11 that other communities are doing, to let people know that there's a storm pending, to let people know that there's going to be a high tide, and to move your car if you're in a low-lying area, has worked tremendously. 10 years ago, you didn't have that. You woke up and you lost your car.
Right. Yeah. And it only takes 6 inches of standing water to move a car. So it's not a lot, especially if you get in certain places, it can move it. I'll wrap up with this. When you're looking, again, just kind of zooming out to the county level, what are some specific actions that you think other towns in the county can take, from Sea Isle City? Is there any, we'll say, low-hanging fruit that can be easily adapted by some other towns along the shore to raise their, CRS rating as well?
Well, they could certainly look at what we did, and certainly look at especially with the building of the houses, certainly look about doing what we did. But as I tell people in Seattle, we do not have the lock on flooding. We are not the only community that floods during a storm, floods during high tide. You know, we're all working together on this. Recently, we just put in these flashing lights throughout Seattle to alert not necessarily the motorists that live here year-round, because we pretty much know which street to go down, which street not to go down. This is to alert our visitors and second homeowners that the street ahead of them is flooded. And they have been working pretty well. And our police chief Tom Dentino, came up with that idea. So that would be one thing I ask the other communities to look at. You know, in areas that they know floods very quickly, to get these flashing lights, because that's the worst thing when the big trucks or even the cars try to go through them. Because 9 out of 10 times when it's really flooded, the cars don't make it.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, and I just want to hammer this because I say it so many times, the water that's on your street is salt water. It's not fresh water. You know, it can corrode your car. You know, I'm sorry? You're
absolutely right. Yeah. 4 months from now, your brake lines or other parts of your car could be corroded because you drove through this, you know, water that was up to your front bumper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's always important. If you see flooded water, just turn around. There are other routes to go around. And like you said, reverse 911 is a great, you know, idea to let people know of coastal flooding that's coming. You have the webcams as well. That's through the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. We're just about ready to wrap it up here. Let me ask you, you know, what is your favorite month in Seattle City? Are you a fall guy? Do you like the busyness of the summer?
I like the busyness of the summer, to tell you the truth. I like the hustle and bustle. I like, you know, everything going on and got to make split decisions. You know, I like moving like that and knowing that let's get going. We got to do this today. This is happening. That's happening.
Yeah.
My hope is that we get through this COVID-19 really quickly. There's a vaccine for it, and everyone can get back to somewhat normal. You know,
right.
We need to get back to doing the daily things that we are accustomed to, talking to people, meeting people, hugging people. You know, we need to get back to that. And that's my hope, and that we get through it, and hopefully everyone remains safe.
Yeah, we're all hoping for it. You know, we're South Jersey strong. We're getting through this. We will. And hopefully by the time we get to next summer, you know, we can say everything is great. Come on down to Cape May County. Come on down to Sea Isle. Smile because you're in Sea Isle. Always got to say that. You know, I remember last time you said you may want to sing for us about a few Sea Isle City songs. Do we want to try out your singing prowess here with a couple Sea Isle songs, or do you just want to call it quits at this point?
Hold it. I think it was a pretty good show. I don't think we ought to ruin it with my singing at this time. All right.
All right. Good. Very, very good answer.
We do another one around the holidays. Maybe I'll give you some holiday songs, but let's just get through COVID. Let's just get through. And you know what? I got to thank the people, because even with COVID and all the restrictions that we had, not only in Cape May County, Seattle, Avalon, but the state of New Jersey, people continued to come to the Jersey Shore. They came down here. And we hope we all did a good job for them.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Mayor, thank you so much for the time. We definitely appreciate it. Just let everybody know where they can find more information on Sea Isle City.
Call Sea Isle City 609-263-6395, extension 1245. And
is that your direct line?
That's right to me.
Right? Okay. Well, there you go, everybody. If you want to talk with him more, you can give him a shout right there. And if you want the latest in South Jersey weather, South Jersey news, sports, we talk about Sea Isle too. You can go to our website, pressofac.com. Weather site is pressofac.com/weather. We will be back with you the first Wednesday in November. We're going to recap the month of October, and we have a lot of warm air to talk about. That's going to be with New Jersey State climatologist, Dr. Dave Robinson. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Take care. Enjoy. Spend some time at the shore here. This is Something in the Air.